Okay, this is Chris Lilly, the legend from Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue. Chris has a brand new book out, Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue Book. Is that the appropriate title?
That's it.
So the book is an amalgamation of the anecdotal style and the recipe style cookbooks that are both a cultural touchstone and also have a vast amount of recipes. I think the book is 255 pages.
I believe that's correct.
Which is considerably longer. Most of the barbecue books that are out there are under 200 pages. And you, in the book, you touched on some things that a lot of people don't. Most cookbooks have an introductory section for new people who are just getting into barbecue, but none of them do what you did in talking about fuel and conservation of fuel, and even delving into things like the minion method. Was your reason for doing that because you are so used to the questions for people due to your association with Kingsford?
I did that because there's a lot of people with grills in their backyard, whether it be a Weber kettle or what have you. And they really, I did that as a way to explain the difference between barbecuing and grilling and give them another option on what to do with their grills.
Right.
There's so many grills out there that are being underutilized, put it that way.
Right.
Not building a two-zone fire so they get indirect heat.
Right.
And that was just to allow really the newbies out there or to really give them a chance to basically barbecue in their backyard on gear they already have, and also to let people know that you don't have to have a $5,000 barbecue trailer to put out championship barbecue.
Right. Now, your book excels in what it does and what it's intended to do from the word angle, whether it be the actual recipes or whether it be the anecdotes, but or the decade previews of what happened for Big Bob Gibson's during the 1940s, the 1950s, and so on. However, that's coupled with amazing photography that you don't see the equal to in many books. Did you have input on the photographs that were taken and how they were going to be presented?
Definitely. You just described the hardest week in my entire life. I had a gentleman by the name of Ben Fiend from New York City. He came down and stayed with us for about a week in Decatur and did the photography. So if you'll imagine a photographer coming, and every hour you have to have something coming up so they can do food styling, they can take the picture, and then go on to the next shot. So it really takes an hour for the setup and then a little bit of time to take the picture. So every hour an item has to come up. But when you're dealing with beef brisket and whole hog and shoulder and large cuts, you got to back time all that.
Sure, it's almost like you're in a competition.
Exactly.
Where you have 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and so on.
So every day you have 9 or 10 items come up to do food shots, and you've got to back time all that and prep it all as well. So when the photographer goes home, I stay through the night and prep for the next day and put on. So it's very little sleep, very intense, but I think
worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Some of the photos that I thought were the best were not just for the imagery, but because they were almost as educational as the words that accompanied them. Like we were talking about with the minion method for the charcoal, with the charcoal for a vertical smoker, how it was laid out, but also I think it was on page 74 and 75 for the pecan tenderloin pinwheels. You had the actual progression of every step in the making of the item. You flip over the page and then you have the image of them actually being cooked on the grill. So effectively somebody can make that recipe if they knew a little bit without even reading the words. It was really very well done. And my favorite recipe.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
So aside from yourself, who do you think is the biggest influence on the barbecue world as far as for barbecue aficionados? People who know the major players in the industry, who do you like to reference? Like if somebody was to come to you and say, hey, who should I model myself on, or who should I look into that would be a good role model?
I may go somewhere different on this. I like, and it could be any number of people, but I like the guy that is in your hometown that has been working the pits for 25, 30, 40 years, who is often underappreciated.
Right.
And you never get to see him on a platform and a podium out in events like this. You just don't see it.
Right.
That is the guy that I get my inspiration from, and that is really how I modeled the cookbook. The cookbook's not about me. The cookbook's about Big Bob Gibson and people like him. That's what they do and the passion of barbecue.
That's a very interesting point. It's almost like the I hadn't looked at it like that before in reading the book and reviewing the book, but it does seem like it's almost egoless. I would assume that at this point, for most people, Big Bob Gibson is a name for a restaurant instead of an iconic individual, where the name Chris Lilly is almost like a brand unto itself. And yet you wrote the book, you are Chris Lilly, and yet the book is almost, 40% about him, his family, and the development of the restaurant. Was that a conscious choice to try to honor the man, honor what he built, and bring a little attention back to that?
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to do. There was too many stories there that needed to be told. And plus, I look at what I've done and where I am in barbecue, and I've got to attribute the majority of that to Big Bob Gibson, because I started on a platform that was really high.
Right.
I learned the techniques that he had been using in his restaurant since 1925. So, I've got to attribute a lot of my success back what he started.
Right. And it seems that he had almost a KISS philosophy, keep it simple, stupid. I mean, like the coleslaw, which I haven't tried yet, but it looks like it's an excellent recipe. I think it has 4 ingredients.
Yes.
So that's amazing.